What's up, TK?
Hello. I almost didn't hit the little video thing. It just went down to
Why?
the icon. I don't go live as much as I used to, so it's kind of I got to get back in the swing of it.
You have been incognito. You been writing?
Writing and just staying away from as much social media as possible. I get on, I make my posts, I get off.
Understandable, understandable. I get it, I get it. But we miss seeing you and making you blush.
I don't have a fan near me. They over there. Tell Zeno don't come up in here.
so, okay. So, let's get started. So, tell everyone who you are, what genre you write in, or genres, and anything you want them to know before we get started.
I don't know if I want there to be anything for people to know per se. The older I've gotten, I'm starting to value privacy, which is opposite of this upcoming generation. But I've been in this writing game for professionally for 10 years. I'm gonna say professionally, even though in 2015 when I released my first book, I did not know what I was doing. I just wanted to write, see it in a book format, and then say I published a book that had been sitting on me. But I'm still saying 10 years, even though that book is now being rewritten and gonna be the last book I published this year. So as far as genres, I consider myself a multi-genre author. I don't like being put in a box. I
Yeah.
tried that. I've actually tried that my whole life, and that's never worked out. So my mother would like to tell the stories of I switched an activity every year as if that was a problem. But to me, that's just who I am. I did softball, kickball, baseball with the boys, tennis. I did tennis longer than anything. Cheerleading against my best wishes, dance squad. I did something different every year. You just couldn't box me in. I did like dance and tennis the most,
Mm.
but you just weren't going to get me to stick to one thing. I guess what people call that ADHD now. I didn't have ADHD. I just like to try different stuff. So writing is the same. I thought I was going to stick it with romance, but I started out with women's fiction, and now I'm slowly tipping into the thriller side.
Mm.
That's only because I can get out angry thoughts and aggression and unalive somebody on a page.
Well, well.
Yeah. So like romance is black romance, BWWM, BWAM, Insta love. Not too heavy on the enemies to lovers. I have one pen name out there with the enemies to lovers per se, but I honestly don't get it because me personally, if I don't like you, I ain't sleeping with you. So I don't really get to lovers. That's just me. But then I also tipped into, like I said, women's fiction,
Mm.
and now heading towards domestic thrillers.
Okay. And you did contemporary, right? What happened? Did she freeze up for y'all?
It's not the normal dark.
Oh, you froze
Did
up.
I?
Yeah, I was like, what
Am
you
I,
said?
am I frozen?
No, you're fine now, but I didn't hear what you were saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now, see, that's what I meant to start out with. I don't know what's been going on with my Wi-Fi. I've done the gateway, the whole reset box all week. It's something going on in the area. So let me know if I freeze up again, because
Okay.
it was rolling for me. I don't even know the last thing I said, but
I was saying you write contemporary romance too.
most of my romances are contemporary.
Mm.
Um, the black romance, I thought it was just contemporary romance until someone read it and said, I need to say it's dark contemporary romance because there's unaliving when you get to books 2 and 3 in the series.
Mm.
I didn't think to do that. They said, well, dark romance doesn't have to be what you think it is. It has that dark element. So
Mm.
the dark contemporary.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm I'm not a dark romance connoisseur.
yeah. I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. Um, all right. So we're gonna get started because I have a lot of questions for you. The last time we talked, I really did not go in depth with who you are as a multifaceted author. Um,
Okay.
so I want to start off with your ability to write across genres like
Okay.
women's fiction and contemporary thriller, paranormal. You already know I love vampires.
Yes.
Um, is impressive. How do you navigate the distinct tones, structures, and I guess themes of each genre?
So with romance, it came to me easy because I've always been a sucker for love.
Mm-hmm.
I and again, the older I get, I am in love. I'm happily married, but I'm like, what the hell was wrong with me? With all this love stuff when I was younger, like I should have been out there doing this and doing this and doing this. But I've just always been happy about love and seeing people fall in love, and like a sucker watching Hallmark movies to see people falling in love.
Yeah.
So romance kind of came easy because that's just how I felt internally.
Mm-hmm.
Women's fiction was more experience. People are asking me when I'm going to write my story. I'm like, everybody said they got a story to tell. So I don't know why mine's going to be so much special and different from somebody else's. But again, like I said, privacy, some things I just out there.
Mm-hmm.
So you may catch a sprinkle of it in
Yeah.
my women's fiction, but it's always going to be that label. This is fiction. You'll never know which parts really came from me. Paranormal was not easy because I'm scary a little bit. I grew up with things happening. I never say I'm gifted. I never say I'm touched, but I do know some entities exist. So I
Mm-hmm.
grew up a little bit scary. And my sister, who loves to pick at me, is the reason why I have the two paranormal books.
Mm.
Um, she's a sister that has joked, picked at me, but pushed me. So the YA speculative fiction, it's about two sisters. I can admit that's basically me and her. And a lot of those stories we've experienced with my cousin, who is kind of the star, the co-star of that book.
Mm-hmm.
And then the paranormal romance, which is the vampire book, which is your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
She made me write that book. My sister does not read romance. She is a
Mm-hmm.
hardcore horror person. And she said, I'll read one of your books if you write about vampires. So I wrote about vampires. And now y'all are asking for book two, and I'm like, why?
Yes. What
So
you mean
now
why?
I thought that was going to be a one and done to please my
Uh-uh.
sister. And now people are asking me for book two. So I'm going to make it a duology, and then I'm done. I've already started the draft before anybody says I started the draft. But this is it. This
You
duology.
did it to yourself because you added characters in there and you left unanswered questions.
I only left one unanswered question. Is she gonna, you know,
You introduced those vampires.
you just want Cashel Martin with them gold fangs.
Yes.
And he is highlighted heavily in book two, but I thought people would have wanted the werewolf more because
Girl, don't nobody care about them damn mangy mutts.
that man was fine. What you talking about?
But he ain't have no fangs with.
He's a werewolf.
Okay, everybody writes about werewolves. I need something
Yeah,
different.
does it? Okay, so they're the Silver Clan werewolves. Do a lot of people write about silver colored werewolves? Okay, see that's new to me because I told you that's not really my jam. I just did a little research. I went to sleep. I write whatever came to my mind. If something made me scared, okay, this has to go in the book because I was told you should write about the things that you fear because you'll put more feeling into it.
Lord.
So that's basically how that story came about. Something freaked me out from something I looked at that she told me to watch. I went to sleep. Okay, that freaked me out. I write that. And then I did a little bit of some people who read it did not catch on. I was paying a lot of homage to Katrina. If you were on Twitter, still Twitter to this day, when Katrina happened, a lot of those tweets were explaining to what happened to the inner city communities.
Mm-hmm.
And if you kind of knew the history of what happened during that time, and especially to the melanated people in New Orleans, I put that in there. But if you really didn't know what people were saying on Twitter, you wouldn't have kind of caught it in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then people really didn't catch the Orisha reference. And
A lot of Black people do not know about the Orishas or the African traditional religion. So,
I don't know if you caught it that I paid homage to a prominent Black family in that book. One person caught it because they DM'd me when I revealed why, when she is harmed or cut, the gold light shines from her when she's healing. Towards the end of the book, I name a certain family of why that is. And one person was like, "You got to give me a book too." And I was like, "You caught that?" And I was like, "You're the only person who
okay,
caught
now
it."
I got to go back and read it.
Yeah, I was like, "You're the only person who caught what family I was paying homage to." There's a huge Black historical woman figure that is paying homage to, but only one person caught it. I'll tell you when we get off in case people haven't read it yet.
Okay. Okay. Do you approach each genre differently when crafting your characters and storylines, or do you find that writing styles transcends genders? I mean, genres.
Kind of, sort of, because I'm my worst critic. I'm a part of a group called Writers Atelier. It's led by Raquel Henry. She's they say don't say clean anymore. She's a sweet romance writer, but she owns this company that helps like with editing, coaching. We do writing sessions, and then we talk about what we wrote, and you can do like one-on-one coaching with her.
Mm-hmm.
When I joined, I kind of saw that, oh, I thought I had this in the bag, but it's true. You always have room to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I'll think something sounds just superb. And when I present it, she'll say, "This could be tightened. Do you realize you said this word twice in this paragraph?" And now those things are like stuck in my head to where I hear this a lot of times where people don't like for you to use the D or the C word. I can't use it in one paragraph. I have to be creative when I'm talking about, like, I think I can say genitalia on here.
Well, the dick and cock.
Yeah, I don't use that twice in a paragraph. I don't use any words twice in a paragraph. Now I have to get creative.
Time out. You use the word cock.
In my pen name stuff and in my interracial, because I know how.
I almost slid down the wall. I hate that word.
Yeah. This is what I hear in our community. So I have to like remember, okay, this is interracial. I can say the C word here.
Oh,
It's accepted there. Those threads in the book chats really get me about who has an issue with the D and who has the issue with the C.
I love to say dick. Shit, I say that often. I tell my husband all the time, dick. But I'm just saying, cock, I understand when I'm reading. It's more so when I read a white author, I expect that. Mm-hmm. If they use dick, they must have grew up in the hood. That's how I look at it.
I don't have a problem with it though, because I'm from Carolina. We got the Gamecocks, so it just rolls off my tongue to say it. Not in.
But when you're talking about males and you say cock in the same word, it's just like that's disgusting. That's how I feel. I'd be so disgusted.
I've heard that the D word seems more crude.
Crude.
Yeah.
God. I guess.
I have a personal issue with the other C word. I can't spell it with the U. I have to spell it the whole way, COME, because it just don't feel right.
What? You talking about cum? Jesus.
I have to spell it the normal way because it just seems like, oh
my God.
It's just an internal thing. But on the pen name stuff, I just let it fly because I kind of don't really. Anybody never gonna know that's me.
So, what drew you to each of these genres? What drew you to them? Is there one genre that you feel most connected to, or do they each satisfy different like aspects of your personality or your creativity?
Um, I think I feel more connected with women's fiction, to be honest,
Mm,
because I think we have so many stories to tell outside of romance.
mm,
We go through so much. I enjoy looking at women's fiction movies because you never know what a woman is going through in a house. You never
mm,
know what her upbringing was like. I have judged people who I've known my entire life thinking that their life was perfect, only to find out I was completely wrong.
mm-hmm,
So women's fiction is kind of my favorite. And then that was the first one. That was my first book that I put out,
mm,
telling the story of one woman.
mm.
So romance maybe second, but now that I'm one of these therapy people, the thriller is creeping up because I got a lot of alive to do to get them feelings out on fake people.
Do you ever find yourself like mixing elements from different genres in your stories, or do you
Yeah.
try to keep them strictly within the traditional, bounds of writing?
I tried, and then that made me unhappy. Again, the older I'm learning, I just got to do me. I got to like block out the noise, which is another reason why I'm not on social media. I can't listen to a bunch of people just talking and
Mm-hmm.
taking all of that in. So, like
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, where I thought I was writing the romance books, I
Mm-hmm.
was told no, those are women's fiction with romance elements. And then the
Mm-hmm.
romance community is big on a happy ever after. So I have like 4 books that I've shelved. They're finished. I'm just not doing anything with them because I couldn't really get that concept of women's fiction with romance elements because a lot of people don't seem like they pick up on that. And then that always leads into the debate of I'm in the anti-romance really right now. I don't think everybody I don't know what that is.
Oh, that's
Uh,
that's them giving gifts.
okay. I don't really know why everybody has to have the same format and formula in a book. That drives me crazy. I like Clueless, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize if they don't think hard enough, she did not end up with the guy she was crushing on in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a happy ever after compared to what the romance community talks about. The
Mm-hmm.
person you start the book out with is who you have to end up with. I
Yeah.
personally don't think that can happen because I think this person can mess up. I can meet somebody and he could be the love of my life towards 3/4 of the end of the book, but I haven't found that audience yet. So there was one author who was talking about it, and she said she wanted people to like get more into the anti-romance. I was like, that's my category. I can finally get those books out that I want to put out if
Mm-hmm.
that will pick up. Because I don't think you have to end up with the person you started out with. You can meet somebody else along the way.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
How do you manage writing for diverse audiences across these genres while maintaining um a unique voice in each book?
Fake identities. I have pen names for days. One I may reveal because the story did well on Kindle Vella. In one of the group chats that I used to promote it in heavily, somebody was like, "Whatever happened to the people who were writing those stories and didn't finish them on Kindle Vella?" Well, I'm one of them, and they asked about that book. I could have been finished with that book, but honestly, I just been taking my time. I didn't think it was on the charts, but I didn't think people really were like looking for it. So that may be one name I have to reveal because that just might end up being my bestseller. But that is women's fiction. And they used to leave comments on there. I kept a screenshot before the app went down on how many people would comment on that story. They didn't comment that much on all of the stories under my name. So I may have to come out and reveal that that's me once I finish that book.
Mm.
My
Can
other pen names, people don't know that I'm black. I don't reveal it. I just let that little symbol sit up on that page. I put those stories out and they read them in KU, which is diabolical because I'm like, so you'll read the person you don't know, but you won't read the person who's revealing themselves to you. Got it. Yes.
Wow.
So that's how I do that. Multiple pen names.
Wow, that's wild. But you
Mhm.
know what? That's what they do. So it's not that far
That's what
off.
I said. Well, I'm gonna just reverse it back. They doing it, so why can't I?
That makes sense though. They do it all the goddamn time, be bamboozling the fuck out of us.
Yeah. What's funny though is that particular author name
Hmm.
is a 3-star author across the board, and I can tell from some of the comments, some people kind of figuring out I'm not what they think. But it's like I'm like, this is weird that all of these books got a 3. That's very strange.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through your writing process? Do you plan out your stories, or is it a little chaotic and you let the characters talk through you?
It's both.
It's both.
I've planned out one. I planned out the vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I would dream stuff and then I would write it, and then I knew how I wanted that one to end. But
Mm-hmm.
the other ones, honestly, I'm a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer. If it comes to me, I'm gonna write it.
Mm-hmm.
I have voice notes everywhere. I have pieces of paper everywhere. I'll text myself stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
also the age thing is creeping up. If it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I get up, type it or text it or leave a little voice note, because in the morning I might not remember and it might be something good. So
Yeah.
it's all of that. And then I'll just piece. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to put this in here. I'll go back and add that little tidbit. Then that ends up being 3,000 more words that I did not need to add because it was already long. And
Yeah.
then fine.
You muted yourself. Oh. Okay.
My husband called. I'm sorry. Am I back?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Um, that's how the interracial book, it got to be so long. It was only supposed to be one book. I was starting out with that. I don't mean to yell. I don't know how to put this on mute. Tell your daddy stop calling me. Okay. Um, he'll be fine. Um, so the group that read it was like, well, what's going to happen? I was like, what you mean? They got the happy ever after. And they were like, no, they have more to say. I'd never cared for series like that. So I went and wrote book 2. And then that just grew to so long. So I had to chop it up in books 2 and 3.
Mm.
That's why.
Damn. So what role does research play in your writing, especially in the thriller part of it and the paranormal part of it? What research do you do, and how tedious is that?
I think I did more for the interracial because that book takes place in London and
Mm-hmm.
I've never been to London. So for the research, of course, I did a lot of Googling, but a lot of times I did YouTube tours
Mm-hmm.
online. I followed people where they were going throughout the day, and then people on online outside of YouTube that just had like blogs.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of research on their blogs, read up wherever they were going, looked at the pictures, looked at what the streets looked like, looked at how like the arrows were on the street, how they were different. We know they drive on the opposite side, and then that was the most research I think I did for a book because I've never been to London. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually met a good fan over there. She's like turned out to be a really good friend because she enjoyed the book, and she was like, "Well, when you coming back?" I was like, "I've never been over there," and she was like, "What?" She was like, well, how did you know like these streets or like this area? I was like, YouTube tours. And she was like, wow, I never thought about that. So
Wow.
that was the most research I did for paranormal. Like I said, I'm kind of scary. I read Anne Rice before. I respect her because she's the OG
Yeah.
and terrified me, which is why I'm just scary with that. But I did watch the first movie with Tom Cruise and
Interview with a
Brad
Vampire
Pitt. I watched that one, and then I watched a series, Vampire Diaries.
and the originals.
Well, I didn't even finish Vampire Diaries because it was getting stupid. So I went to the originals, and I completed the originals only because Klaus used to make me laugh.
I can see
That's
that.
about as that's about as much research as I did for vampires. So Yeah, it must be something with the husbands today, girl.
Yeah, it's my
I'm like, good God. Yeah.
okay. So you work often. Your work often includes deeply emotional themes.
Hmm.
How do you balance the emotional depth and with the suspense and the action elements,
Are
particularly
you
in
talking about the
thrillers?
latest book?
Yeah, particularly in thrillers, particularly in paranormal.
Hmm.
How do you balance that?
I think I'm emotionally connected because it's coming from me. It's a lot up here that's stuck that needs to get out.
Mhm.
Um, if there's a love scene, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this because I normally don't talk about my relationship. Those come out to be filthy because I've been holding out. Then I and then I can go handle business. That's the how the emotions come out on that side. And then when I let one of my friends read it, if she tells me she's gonna go outside and hump a tree, I know I did my justice.
Not
If she
hump a tree.
if she doesn't say that, I got to go back to the drawing board.
Oh wow.
The look the pen name is worse.
Oh
If
wow.
Shannon told me I was NASTY, but she don't even know nothing about this pen name. She was thinking worse.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay.
And
So.
then on the thriller side, which I knew you were talking about the latest book.
Mhm.
That came because of what's going on right now, not
Mhm.
politically, but in the community.
Mhm.
I don't think Black women are getting the respect that they deserve. There's the 4B movement going on because our men are not treating us the way that we deserve.
Mhm.
And I was just listening to little girls on live. Like I told you, I'm always in the bushes. And I'll just like listen to them talk. And it reminds me of when I was younger. I didn't
Mhm.
know my worth. And I get pissed about that. I
Yeah.
did have women in my life, but women were going through things.
Mm.
And some of them I'll write about. Some of them I can't because of somebody who's close to me and I don't feel like the drama.
Mhm.
But just in the neighborhood, like I said, you never know what's going on in the house. And I'm
Mhm.
listening to these girls and I'm like, okay, I didn't feel like I knew my worth. Maybe
Mhm.
if somebody else will tell them, they'll listen. But I think they just ain't gonna listen. I hope they listen, but it's a lot of damage that needs to be rectified in the community.
Yeah. Yeah. So, where do you draw inspiration from your stories? Are your characters and plots inspired by real life experiences, or do you rely on imagination and creative imagination, exploration, or
It's
whatever?
both. Um, the book I wrote last year, Can't Quit You, was total imagination. I dreamt that story about a big haired Black girl walking into a bar in the middle of this country, town in Tennessee, and I wrote about it. I don't know anybody from that area, anybody pertaining to that, and then the I think I can reveal that on here. The voice that I'm talking about in that book is the lead singer for Kings of Leon. Something about that man's voice would do it to me.
What you know about Kings of Leon?
Oh, I'm their number one fan on this side.
Yeah, not
Yes.
many people know about Kings of Leon. They be getting slept on.
Yes. So that voice that I'm talking about that sounds like a raspy god that
Hmm.
is singing you to sleep and make you wake up and want to get busy. That's
Yes.
his voice. But that was total imagination. The women's fiction, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little bit nosy. Don't don't stand next to me in line and be talking about your business because I'm right there listening like, that little piece is going in a book. You don't know me, I don't know you. I'm about to write some of that.
Yo.
That
Yeah.
I'm not gonna reveal which book that is, but yeah, I'm a little nosy, and I guess the rest. Well, the first interracial series, An Affair Abroad, that came from my friend
Mm.
in a marriage, and she said, "When you gonna write something about me?" And I'm like, "What you mean?" She was like, "All your characters, they with black men. I'm not." She was like, "When you gonna write something about me?" I was like, "Okay." So that's kind of imagination, but she was the inspiration for that story.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I know that's right, friend. Um, how do you maintain a sense of being authentic in like women's fiction while exploring fictional elements in like your paranormal romance or your thriller twists? And I'm emphasizing the thriller twists um,
I know what you're getting at.
in your stories.
Um, I don't know how to answer that question honestly and not give away too much. Um, do I have to answer that one?
Yes, ma'am.
I Now that I zoned out from the question. What part of that question you want me to answer the most?
The women's fiction part. You don't have to answer the thriller part because your book just came out.
Yeah. Uh, I guess.
Uh oh, she froze again.
Oh crap.
You good? You froze just for a hot
Okay.
second.
Soon as you said it, okay. And now I keep forgetting what I'm supposed to say. Read that question again, and I'll do it. I'll do the whole thing.
I just wanted to know what pretty much how do you what was it? How do you maintain a sense of being authentic in
Okay.
writing women's fiction while exploring themes such the fantasy themes like you did in paranormal?
Okay.
But we gonna not talk about the thriller part until I get to talk to you about your book.
Okay.
But that right there, yeah, that was the question. That was the question.
So I was told writers have to read. You can't be a writer you don't read.
Mhm.
If I'm writing women's fiction, I'm not reading women's fiction. I'll read or listen to romance on audio. So I don't incorporate anybody else's ideas. So I can stay authentic to my own train of thoughts and the way I want to see it to go. And I say that because I was a part of, everybody got their little back group chat and somebody did something that they thought was similar to another person in the group chat's book. And I was like, I don't never want that to be me. So I make sure I don't try to like listen to the genre that I'm currently writing. So I don't put anything in my stuff. Another way for me to be authentic is I do trust my dreams because I'm so in tune with them.
Mm.
And if something says that don't sound right or that don't feel right, I'll take it out. I have like a folder of files where I cut out stuff
Mm.
and just put it to the side that this has been omitted. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'll ask one of my nerdaholic friends, because I'm not ashamed to say I'm a nerd. I think I'm a cool nerd. She reads everything, and I'll tell her the plot of something I'm working on. I'm like, have you heard of anybody else who has this book? Because, people always ask you for comps. They'll say, well, this book is like this, or if you like this movie, this is like this. She kind of like helps me with that list because she's all over the place. And if something sounds too close, she'll let me know. So I think that's the best way I can stay authentic. I do need the help with that because I don't read everybody's stuff.
Understandable because not everybody's stuff is worth reading. Yep. Uh,
I'm gonna talk to you about that offline because it's a question I gotta ask you anyway, child.
ah, so women's fiction.
Okay.
Fiction often deals with a lot of emotional bullshit going on. Like sincerely, because us as women, we go through a lot of shit. Us as black women go through a lot of shit. A lot of shit. But there are also journeys and growth in women's fiction. How do you approach developing complex and multidimensional characters when they're female protagonists?
I am heavily into women taking out vengeance now. I think we've seen enough of the dormant woman. We've seen enough of what I keep saying in chats that they hate that this female lead is making the dumb decisions. And I am guilty of that on the romance side because for some reason when you in love, that's what you do. So now on the women's fiction side, I don't want to see that type of woman coming from my page.
Right.
Um, Everybody's not perfect. You know, people are gonna make mistakes. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna make a decision based on the heart from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the time, and I think it's a lot of women who kind of want to see that. I don't think a
Yeah.
lot of men are happy about it, but men are the reason why we're seeing it.
This is true. This is
Mhm.
true. So in contemporary fiction, themes are like of identity and relationships. That seems to be the most significant role in that genre. How do you how do you ensure that these themes resonate with your readers?
I'm hoping that it resonates with my readers, especially the rage. You
Mm,
see a lot of talk about therapy now. A lot of people are trying to go to therapy. You see a lot of things in the news happening to women, and
yeah.
if I see it, it enrages me. And I'm wondering, there has to be an audience of readers out here who share that rage of when is enough going to be enough? Because I don't care
Mhm.
how big you are, you're never going to overpower a man. You might get one or two, but they just are physically stronger. So,
Unless you're a black belt.
huh?
Unless you're a black belt.
I guess. But could a black belt take out Jason Momoa?
Yes.
Okay.
Easily. I can. I mean, I'm saying it. I done fought Samoan dudes all the time. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Um the thing about it is that human beings are fragile and
Mm-hmm.
we all have points in which we are weak. A
Yes.
man may have testosterone, but he still has weak points. And
Yes.
within his weak points, a female can easily take him down.
You talking
It's
about
just
the pressure
we
points?
it's just easily people get afraid when someone's bigger than them. Or
Yes.
they get afraid because it is a man. Because you don't know their reaction to you as a woman.
Yeah.
But calmer heads always prevail. So yeah, it's
I'm one
easy.
of those people. I have had the tendency my whole life to be afraid of people who are bigger than me because I was
Mhm.
constantly picked on when I used to be less than a buck oh five. And I never really cared to defend myself because I already had people like my sister who wanted to defend me because all she wanted to do was fight.
Mhm.
But that's all she lived from. I come from. I hate to admit this, but it is the truth. It will come out one day. I come from a violent family, and I never resonated with that side. I resonate with the anger and the
Yeah.
rage from it, but like physically carrying out the violent part, I never did that until another person who was tiny but shorter in my family kind of proved the point that there was meaning to the David and Goliath story
Mhm.
and that a scared person will unalive you. And
Mm.
when I got close to that, that's when that started to taper off of you don't really have to be afraid of somebody who's bigger than you.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Rage
Because
is cheaper than therapy and quicker.
that's
Yes.
why I enjoy rage rooms.
Yes.
Okay, so in your thriller novel, let's let's let you introduce this novel,
Okay.
introduce the synopsis of it without giving too much away, and I want to know what the fuck was going through your head when you was writing this book.
Oh, rage. Um, like I said, I'm trying not to be too honest.
So, what's the name of the book?
Hear me out. It's funny. I had a demo of this book to take the to make like the promo before it was finished being edited. I can't find that book. And then these arrived today, so I can finally put them up on the TikTok shop. It was taking forever to get them printed. So this was meant to come today. This isn't even, if you notice, like I added the lines in between. The original I don't know where that book is. It's gone. But it's Hear Me Out. It is women's fiction slash domestic psychological thriller.
Mm.
Um, what Storm is referring to is that there is a lot of drama that these women have endured. As far as the AB use word, there's emotional, financial, emotional, and mental. Did I say verbal?
Mm. Not yet.
Um, without giving away too much. What was going on with me? I will give this away. One of the prologue says these are their stories.
Yep.
I took out a line that originally used to say these are their stories and one of them is mine. But
Mm.
I took that out. So that's what I'll say.
This is a rough book to get. This this was, and I'm gonna say this. It's not emotional in the sense that um it's sappy. It's emotional in the sense that you just want to reach out and touch somebody.
Yeah.
You know, this is a woman's book. That's the best way I can put it.
The first way I was going to describe it was if you've ever been harmed by a man or if there's ever been a man you really wanted to get your lick back on, this is the book for you. I
Mm-hmm.
changed that to, I didn't feel like that was the best way to market it. Then I changed it to if you have emotions that you've never ever confronted, you may find someone on the page to share those emotions with.
Mm.
And then I just let all that go away and said, I'll just let it do what it does. So that's when I added the four and the yellow on the front that now says 1 minute he's Prince Charming, the next he's a nightmare, and sometimes the nightmare picks you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. How do you build suspense while still ensuring that your character's emotional arcs are just as compelling as the plot? Now, this book, look, I'm gonna say you did so great. Gave me the hiccup. So great with this.
Well, I was going to ask you how emotional did it make you?
It made me
Um,
angry. It literally made me angry. Okay, it didn't make me angry in the sense that I was about to boo bop my husband, but it made me angry in the sense that it's like you said, turning on TV and seeing all these things going on, getting
right.
on the internet, like the last incident that just transpired, and that the boyfriend beating the girlfriend, and then the friend was trying to cover her to, keep that man from hitting her like a man. You
I
know,
didn't see that one. The one
it's
down here is the couple in North Carolina that everybody thought was a happy marriage. It was a M plus Erda Ua side.
mm,
And they said that that couple had no issues. I think they've been married 20 years. And then the
mm.
one prior to that was the 62-year-old woman who went to the conjugal visit. Like,
I
it's
just
always something.
the book really just made me feel more aware. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Aware in the sense that we are not safe.
No.
And sometimes we do have to fight back. And I'm not promoting violence before anybody
Right.
says that. I'm talking about fight back in the sense of we have to protect each other.
Yeah. It
Um,
was so emotional. It's just coming out because this was supposed to come out in January, but I couldn't go to it every day to do the edits.
mm,
And I was wondering what's taking me so long. And I knew what was taking me so long. Kamani in the chat, actually, I had to like talk to her and said, I think I'm having an issue of finishing this, and it's because of how the messages to come across. I really
mm,
hope women and women who have younger girls would share it to give them some idea of what they need to look out for,
yeah.
what trigger words, what gaslighting is, not to let your heart control your mind. There's gonna
Yeah.
like I teach my daughter now. it's 1 billion+ people on the planet, and men are everywhere. You don't have to be with somebody in the US. Your soulmate could be in another country. So don't
Mhm.
think because you found this little one cute boy that you think is this, that you ain't gonna meet another one. It's
Yeah.
1 billion more that you will get the chance to meet. And another, what also drove this, there's a lady, her name is Elaine Welteroth. I admire her. Years ago, she was doing this college tour,
Mhm.
and she said something that I had been teaching my friends' children when I didn't have a kid. Do not change your plans for a man. If you are going to ballet school and this boy has a baseball scholarship in Texas, do not change going to New York to dance to find something to do in Texas for that boy. And when she said what I said on that stage, I was like, okay, yeah, let me follow her. She got on stage at some college tour and she said, don't you go to college after that boy? And I was like, yes, somebody finally gets it, because we do that. We will change our entire trajectory over a boy. And it's really bad in high school.
It's bad in college because with my husband, well, then again, he probably wouldn't have been my husband if I hadn't did it. But when I got accepted to Dartmouth, and I was about to go to Dartmouth. I was not about to go to the college that me and him went to, because we started out in community college. Then I got accepted to Dartmouth, so I was finna fucking go to Dartmouth. Dartmouth said, "Fuck going to school
See?
here in Illinois." But he literally, we had this heart to heart, and then I wound up getting into another university, and he didn't get into it at first, and he was gonna go to someplace else. And I said, "Now look here, nigga, you better come where I'm at, because I'm not going to no other college."
Mm-mm. And we do it all the time. A girl will change her plans for a man. And like you said, college too, women too. You could have graduated and got an offer to go to Paris and don't go to
Mm-hmm.
Paris because he said, well, no, I want you to come with me down to Georgia where I'm gonna be hitting baseballs on a semi-pro team. Okay. We got to change that mind. No,
Yeah.
live your life, do what you got to do. And the other person in the chat is also why this book took a while to come out. Olivia Linden.
Mm.
I let her read Kyla's story, the first story, and she said she enjoyed it, but she would like to see the character end up happy. She said
Mm.
most people would want to see something positive after going through what that character's gone through. So it took me a while to figure out how do I want her. And as you've like paid attention to the story, we can't say too much about that part, but she was the reason why I changed a little bit of it to give her a better ending.
Honestly, okay, that's great, but the thing about it is that I loved about the story, because honestly, I wasn't even looking for the happily ever after. I was looking at the, are they safe? Are they secure? Are they
Okay.
happy with themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, did
We
they
found
learn?
that with 1.5, maybe we'll say 1.5 because one of them still got.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, that was it a episode of Snapped? that
It was
that
scooped up in here.
yeah,
This is how I would have, that rage I told you about.
yeah,
What you're referring to is how I would have handled it with all the rage.
yeah.
It snapped.
I mean, it's a good book, and it's definitely it's a thriller, but it's women's fiction. It's straight up women's fiction. But
Yeah.
this is how I see women's fiction when I think about women's fiction.
Because this is what we want them to be doing now.
Yeah,
Yes.
this when I see women's fiction, when I look at your book and I read your book, when I think of women's fiction, this is how I would think women's fiction would be.
When you
And
asked me
not
about
happily
inspiration
ever afters
earlier,
included either.
but when you asked me about inspiration earlier too, I did neglect. I'm into novellas now, which is why I made this a novella because, like I said, everybody's doing the same formula. I'm not the person who is going to give you the second chance if you the villain in the story. Like when you see
Mm.
these stories, like these television shows, and you let the bad person go. No, I'm gonna off you you're not gonna get the chance to come back to get me. And like I have to like pay attention sometimes because me and my
Mm.
husband will be looking at stuff, and I say,
Yeah.
"Oh, can I say the STAB word on here?"
Hmm.
We'll be looking at stuff, and I'll be like, "Oh no, I would have stabbed him right there," and he'll look at me, and I go, "Oh yeah, I need to write that down." So that's inspiration as well. I'm not gonna let the villain get away. Like Thanos would have been gone way earlier in
Yeah.
Infinity War.
What Olivia said, not necessarily a happily ever after, but
He'll
just
be in
in
a
a
good
good
place.
place. Because a lot of times they lead them off in a bad headspace. You
Yes,
know what I'm saying? Like they need this other person to make them be in a better headspace.
right.
Not the growth in which the woman goes through to love herself. When I think of women's fiction, I'm thinking of her journey, her growth, and her finding
Mhm.
that happily ever after with herself.
Yourself, which
That's
is what I was speaking to earlier. There were things that I wish I could have, if I could go back in time, I would
mm,
change how I felt about myself earlier because I put value into somebody else and it should have always been into me. That should have
mm,
never ever existed where I put value in somebody else before myself. And I see a
mm,
lot of girls are doing that. They're still
yeah,
doing that. Even
yeah,
if you have the best role model in the world, they're still not getting you come first.
yeah. That's. I think women's fiction get underrated. Isla.
I'm just laughing at the knives, hide the knives.
No, she said Isla said if she snaps and stabbies and ends up happy in the institution.
I don't want her in the institution. I think it's justified.
Lord Jesus. Oh my God.
End up on a beach with a new identity under a sun hat.
Oh, okay, set it off, people.
Institution.
All right. So, tell before we get back into these other questions, tell
Okay.
them where they can find this book. Tell them why they should buy this book, and anything you want them to know about this particular book.
What I want you guys to know about this book is, if any young girl, teenager, college girl, whatever that's struggling, if you see her struggling relationship wise, tell her she's not alone. That there are some characters in a fictional world that she can probably get some inspiration from and also take some hostility out with.
Mhm.
I want people to know that this book was written from the heart. It's kind of like my love letter to young Black women. It's a love letter to women who need to heal, my age and older.
Mhm.
And it's available wherever books are sold. I have it on all platforms. There's a books to read link on my profile here and on my webpage. And it'll be on TikTok shop starting tomorrow. I couldn't put quantity on there and didn't have it because I ship like the same day. The only time you don't get it shipped out the same day is if it's the weekend, and it'll go out straight on Monday. But it'll be on TikTok shop starting tomorrow because I'll put it in tonight since they finally arrived, and then we'll send them out.
Okay. What you gonna do because TikTok supposed to be banned again on the floor?
I know. I'm acting like it's not gonna happen.
We so sick of these people.
I am because reader base wise, this is where I met readers. I have been on the book. I have been on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel. I just don't see where people connect with me on any other app except this one. So
Yeah.
it's kind of it's exhausting to think that the people who I've actually built something with and will actually take a chance and buy from an indie author come back and buy from me two and three more times, show up on my whenever I did go live, they would come on my lives and just keep me company. Some of them left TikTok shop and will buy from me direct from my website. It it kind of angers me to think that that's just going to go away because of some nonsense. And I've actually met readers, people who actually read, not people who just hold up the book and say they've read the book. People who actually will read the words, can tell you your plot, ask you questions about your stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's the place where that happened for me, and it was the last place I wanted to go because I was so frustrated with the other places.
Yeah.
For that to come to an end, I'm not gonna curse.
I curse for you. Y'all fuck ass niggas really pissing me the fuck off with this bullshit. Man.
Oh my
But all
goodness.
right. Let's dive a little bit deeper into women's fiction because this is a genre that is really starting to open my eyes more when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to you guys as authors because I've read even the paranormal side of women's fiction where
Mm-hmm.
it's not even about the fucking relationship, it's about the woman.
Yep.
And and they write towards that. And when I thought of women's fiction, I guess because I was looking on the white side, no, when I thought of women's fiction, I guess because I was looking on the white side. No offense to y'all, but I think because I was looking on the white side of women's fiction, it absolutely made no fucking sense to me. I was like, why is this just not contemporary romance?
Right. That's that women's fiction with the romantic element stuff I was
Yeah,
telling you about. Like,
I've read some black authors that writes women's fiction, and it has absolutely nothing. He is like the background character.
yes.
It has nothing to do with romance. It has everything to do about her journey.
What she's
So
going through, what she went through, what she's feeling, what her mind is going through. Like I'm really contemplating doing one, or maybe two, because I told you I got books that I just haven't put out.
mhm.
I think I'm gonna add a perimenopausal element to one of them.
You need to do that, baby, because baby, that shit is no joke. You look. I damn near had to drop kick my husband talking about some more kids. Do you understand what I'm going through right now?
Tell him it's a 4B movement going on for a reason. Anybody got time for that?
You do you understand? I am premenopausal. That doesn't. What the fuck I look like being pregnant and being girl? I think I might be on Snap for real. Girl, he's talking about some damn kids.
The
Girl, you
Perry,
better take them
Perry.
grown ass motherfuckers you got as kids now and tell them to ante up them grandkids because ooh.
Today I saw a guy made a video on here where he was holding the baby, and it said something about in the caption, when you tried to call her bluff and fight for full custody in court and you fucked around and won. And he's holding the baby. And now he's sitting there with the baby just looking like a dead headlock. Like, yeah, this is what women go through. This is what mothers go through. Your mother 24/7.
You know how much danger we are in when we give birth? Shit. The fuck? And then I'm in my 40s going into my 50s. You think I want to be sitting up here with a big ass bouncing ball in my stomach?
That's grandma. You getting ready close to grandmama time when you can send them home.
Girl.
And I love children. But it's too rough out here.
That means I can't ride no motorcycles. I can't do nothing. Girl, hell no. Nah. Hell, ooh, God, just thinking about it makes me sick. Woo. Yeah.
And then the women's fiction, there's so many layers to us that I don't think that side would ever do justice. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, with women's fiction, when it comes to black authors, y'all talk about the different elements of being black, our culture, being a black woman, and being a woman.
Yes.
So there is so many different, it's like an onion, you're steady peeling back these layers. And I just think from a white perspective, yes, you can talk about being a woman, but when this is where it fails women's fiction, y'all always still talking about the man. Without this man, this woman ain't never gonna be happy. Right. That's their women's fiction to me. That's why I stopped reading it because I said this is contemporary romance.
And you can't be happy without one. People say, well, you preaching and you got a husband. Yeah, I got a husband. I'm thankful for him that I don't have one that I got to be out here on Snap with. But it's some women out here who don't have a husband and they doing fine. They taking trips. They planning 3 trips in a year. They got businesses. They got money. They not nowhere miserable. They enjoy life. You don't have to be miserable because you're not tied to somebody.
I think with a lot of white authors, they feed into that same bullshit malarkey that they fucking white male counterparts be trying to push on them, and then they write about it. And they
Yes.
make that into more romance than growth. And honestly, it feels like those writers don't understand what growth is of a woman. They don't
They don't
understand.
know how. They don't know our growth.
Exactly. So when I read, and since I am a very hardcore paranormal and fantasy reader, when I read a woman's fiction paranormal book, that's the element. Yes, it's other shit going on, and there's niggas in that book, but it's really focused on her.
And
Her.
how she sees it, how
Yeah.
she's thinking about it, how she's gonna solve it, how she's gonna work around it. You don't get that too often
No.
unless you come to our side of women's fiction.
And that's how I am with dark romance now. I understand now why I could not read white dark romance. Because when it comes to black dark romance, it is our stories. It is our flavor. It is just something different. Whereas their dark romance, god damn it, y'all go to jail. Y'all need to go to jail. I'll say this wholeheartedly, there is only one dark romance writer that is white that I will read, and that's Willow McQuarrie, because she talks about topics that deal with mental health, because she is schizophrenic and she writes from a schizophrenic point of view.
Oh,
That's it. So she's the only one that I will read. The rest of them, I'm just like, jail, bitch. The
that's why I
fuck?
told you the enemies to lovers is really not me. Because if you mean to me, I am not about to sleep with you.
Well,
I'm
I do like bully romance. I
if
do.
I hate you, the knife got to come out. I don't see me spreading it wide and low for somebody who just called me a bunch of names. Me
You get
cry in the
angry.
car. No, I
You get.
can't.
I, I do like that element. You get angry and then y'all fuck some shit up. I like that in
Now,
fiction.
if she spread it low and then stab him after, I could get with that, but there ain't gonna be no romance.
I like that in fiction, not in real life. That's why I read it, because it's fiction. Because in real life, I'd be in jail. But I'm
Cash, you gonna love the ones I'm about to put out because I told you I'm anti romance right now. I don't see it ain't too much lovey dovey going on in the world with these men right now. They need to
that
be
is
handled.
true. That
They
is
need to be
true.
handled.
So, do you incorporate diverse voices or perspectives in your work? Like, how important is it for you to represent underrepresented groups in your stories, particularly in like genres like paranormal romance, where they're often stereotypical tropes?
I've only done that once. That was in the paranormal. The werewolf clan is half Japanese, half black. And I
Mm,
only did that because I have family there. I have a brother that married a Japanese girl. So I have half black, half Japanese nephews and nieces.
mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I did that. As far as the representation, I kind of tried to maybe a little bit, if not a lot, in the vampires, where I put that their blackness was looked at as a certain way mixed with Japanese, because you know how that can play a big part sometimes being the half and half. Other than that, I really just focus on our stories. But
Mm.
yeah,
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 but see, I
that's
like
what
that
I'm
though,
doing.
because the one thing about paranormal and sci-fi and fantasy, you can be political without being political, without
Yes.
straightforward saying it, just
Hmm.
by based off of these fictional mythological characters. You could be very political. The
Well, what I
vampire.
did in it, the
Yeah.
dad was Japanese that came over that carried the wolf gene, and
Mhm.
what I think some people may have caught on. He came over here to New Orleans and he couldn't get enough of the black women. That's why all of the werewolves in that clan is half black, half Japanese, because daddy got over here and got a taste and couldn't stop.
That's because we the shit. No, I'm just.
Which is the point I was trying to make. He went
We the
black and
shit.
didn't go back.
So, what impact do you hope your books have on readers? especially women who might be navigating similar, emotional and traumatic or relationship challenges as your characters are?
Um, well, like in Affair Abroad, one of them, I think is book 3. The inscription says to those that weather the storm. So for that crowd, I want people to kind of feel like I did stick out something and it was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will say, before I got, it's weird. My daughter asked me earlier, did I have any boyfriends before my husband? I was like, girl, I ain't stick around. I don't look back. I've never looked back. When I'm done, I'm done. So like with book 3 blend, it was Weather the Storm. Um, my marriage is the only time I've ever like really forgiven a dude for saying something stupid. If
Mm.
if you would have insulted me or made me feel bad about myself, but like with him, it's weird because he's the forgiving one. I'm grumpy, he's sunshine, kind of.
Mm.
You say something to me, I'm gonna hold that grudge as long as I can. But he's the kind of like, what you want to eat? Don't ask me what I want to eat because you know I ain't
That's
talking to you.
Jonathan so bad. That's Jonathan. I
Leave me
swear.
alone, dude. Then
Jesus.
I think for the women's fiction, I kind of want women or readers, period, to understand from those stories that have been told and the ones that's coming out. You may think that you're the only one going through something, but we all have a story, and sometimes you thought yours was bad, somebody else's is way worse.
Right.
That's a lesson I had to learn because I'll be a big complainer. Then I hear somebody else and I'm like, "Ooh, I sound like a fool who complained earlier." Like,
Facts.
yeah,
Facts. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced when starting out as an author in these diverse genres, and how did you overcome them? Because women's fiction is ran by a fucking white. I
yeah.
mean,
And
you
that
know
was
what I
the
mean.
first book I put out, and I was so, I didn't have any knowledge. I just wrote
Mm.
300 pages of the story that was on me. I put it in a book on Create Space. Didn't
I
know
have not
anything.
heard that in a long time.
Right. I didn't know anything about software, so I was the person on Word doing the tab, making sure it was like this. And then I remember when I put the first book out, I was told, well, the chapter's supposed to start on the right. And I'm looking at that book like, man, I got a chapter on the left, I got a chapter 2 on the right, I got a chapter 4 on the left. It was not what people said. And I had sent that book off to the name that shall not be named, the old woman, when she used to have that section in her magazine of books to read, thinking,
Mhm.
well, if it got in her hands and it needs some doctoring up or a connection, she'll like this story. And then they'll
Yeah.
reach out to me and then I'll be on my way. I had no idea what I was in for. And it's even, I hate to say worse, but it's worse now because the market is saturated with people just like how I was,
Mhm.
minus 10. They don't care about editing. They don't care about reading it out loud. I didn't know that Microsoft could read back to you until like 6 years ago, I think, to
Mm.
listen to what it sounds like. And I think we have people now who don't even care that it'll listen, it'll play back for you. They still just gonna put it out.
Mm.
And like you said earlier, some of it is just straight garbage.
Mhm.
It's unfortunate that now it doesn't have to be,
Yeah.
but it still is. So
How important is women's fiction genre to Black women and Black men?
I would think it's more important to Black men because they have a lot to learn. They have a lot
Mm.
of catching up to do. This will probably be controversial, but I think a lot of the problems I put on them. If you're supposed to be the leader and you're not leading, then you've caused the issue. I have a guy friend from high school. I have to like hit the 30 days mute on Facebook because he just says the dumbest stuff. And it's always something geared to where everything is the woman's fault.
Mm.
And it's like, take accountability. If you did what you were supposed to do, then we wouldn't be here. If you handled your business, if you were able to communicate, took accountability, we wouldn't be here. So I
Mhm.
do put the fault on them. I'm not saying that all women are innocent, but for the most part, if they did what they were supposed to do, then we wouldn't be here. There was a post that came across my feed. This guy was talking to a group of guys, and the guys were complaining about the women. And he said, "Watch this." And he said, "Did you cheat on that lady? Was that lady good to you in the beginning? Man, she was like this. She was like this. Now she just nagging, nagging, nagging." He said, "Did you cheat on the lady?" Took him 5 minutes to come clean. Yes, I cheated on the lady. Well, she was fine when you were doing right by her, but now you want her to still be like that after you've messed up. You are the person at fault. They don't want to say that they're at fault.
Mm. That is true.
I'm gonna be nice to you if you good to me, but if you treat me like crap, what you think you're gonna get? You still want me to be nice to you? No, it don't work like that.
So what has been the most rewarding journey as an author thus far?
Ooh, that's kind of a good question. The most rewarding, honestly, is finding people to say, "I liked your book."
Mm.
I never knew that that would mean as much until I don't even know if she's still in here. A counterpart that writes, Kamani Lauren, she read the last part of the dark contemporary romance, the black romance, and she sent me a voice note on Instagram that said, "I can't believe that ending." And her message went on for like a minute, telling me how much she loved that ending and how I tied everything in together.
Mm.
And I never knew that that was going to make me like feel the way that like I was happy for a whole week. I would walk around smiling like I did something good. I can like I can move off this. I can like vibe into the world like this. I can hold my head up high. Nobody's going to bring me down and say nothing stupid because somebody gave me that great of a compliment. And then when I will get, I would say a second thing is a repeat customer.
Mm.
That really does it for me.
Okay. How do you balance your creative vision with the expectations of your readers? And do you ever feel pressure to conform to genres expectations, I guess?
I did a long time ago. I would say I stopped about 4 or 5 years ago, stopped trying to conform.
Mm-hmm.
One is the saturation problem. Two is there are a lot of good stories out here, and there are like a lot of brilliant writers. And I would find myself reading somebody's work, and I'll be like, "Damn, why I ain't write my stuff like that?" Or like, "Why I didn't put those words together the way that person put their words together?" And then I had to, when I joined that atelier group, it was also mind coaching of you or you. That's for them. What's for you is for you. You write what you are. You write what comes to you. The way that person's brain works is totally different. And it was also when we were on Clubhouse. I can't think of her last name. Is Vanessa. She ran this. I can't think of the name of the group, but they would do these prompts, and you would get 5 minutes to write to the prompt, and then everybody would go around. I was so intimidated in there because the way my stories look, my little 5 minute stories came across,
Mm-hmm.
I felt were like this compared to theirs up here. Until one day I went around and then they were all, "Wow, that's just heartfelt. That's just so touching." And I was like, this whole time I've been intimidated by this group because they were like saying some phenomenal stuff. And I'm like, damn, I feel like mine is just so simple. Well, then one day my simple stuff outweighed their complex stuff. So that's one thing I think has kind of helped me get to where I am mentally. I have to be true to me. What comes from me, that's just me. I can't really do what anybody else is doing. And I definitely don't want to conform to, she might be watching. If she is, I'm sorry. Somebody told me come over to the dark romance side because that's where they're making all of the money.
Mm.
I don't have dark romance in me like that.
Yeah.
And if I did that, I would be doing what everybody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly say I probably won't even like whatever came from me. It's just not where I belong.
Yeah. So let's look ahead. Are there any new genres or themes you're interested in exploring in the future as far as your writing?
Mm, now that I've gone 1, 2, 3, I think the most challenging for me, if I ever tried to do it, would be horror. But I'm not a horror person. And that's because of what I said earlier. Somebody said if you write what you find fearful, you'll do a great job.
Hmm.
Well, hell, I'm scared outside. So that's going to be a damn great book. It's, it's all kind of shit crawling outside. People talking about aliens in the mall of Miami. Bigfoot was seen over here. A damn Yeti somewhere over here. I'm going to do great in that damn genre because that shit scares the hell out of me. All of it.
Oh man. Oh my God.
We hear a neighbor talk about we had a bear on our ring camera the other day. What? Shit, I ain't going outside. I don't walk in my neighborhood. When I go to walk outside, I go to the baseball field where I can lock the gate so a damn dog don't attack me. And I got plenty of exits from this side to that side because I am that damn afraid of outside. It should be out here. A
Oh.
chupacabra somewhere. Mm-mm. I'm good. I'm good.
What advice would you give to an inspiring author who is looking to write across multiple genres but is dead set on women's fiction, whether it be men or women?
Um, I say you just gotta follow your own mind and do it. That was the
Mhm.
thing about me getting off social media. There's a room in Clubhouse. I was addicted to it every morning at 8 o'clock, listening to these people who all say they're six-figure authors. They're this, they're that. They've got this connection. They've got an agent at Amazon. They're this, they're that. And it was really intimidating until I realized I'm taking in all of these voices, listening to this shit, and I'm ignoring what's in here. I gotta
Mm.
follow me. Another thing, not to be racist about this, the rules that apply to them don't apply to us.
Baby, that ain't racist. That's just facts.
So the things that they will be talking about, it will be, yes, the 8 o'clock room, Lord have mercy. Every morning. And had got to the point to where my husband would be like, why are you going in there when your face is like this the whole time? It was just like taking it all in, like this stuff does not apply to us. The
Mm.
things that you guys do to be successful, we can't do that. We would love to do that. We would love to have those opportunities, but we just can't do that. So I don't know. I would say to that person, if it's in you, if you feel it in here, listen to that and then go with whatever genre you want to, because that's how I kind of got into the pen names of you can't have this story be in this genre, but then you writing this pen name over here and then this or separate this. And I was like, I'm gonna have 20 million damn pen names if I do this. So eventually I was like, mm-mm. That was the one that got us.
Mortgage your lake house to take out ads and buy 10,000 copies of your book.
Yes, somebody
What?
did that. Not only that, there was one who the husband had an advertising job,
Uh
so
huh.
they had money. They mortgaged the whole house and put that into Amazon ads, and then made that person. This person is a superstar now, but we can't do that. I'm not even going to take a chance to do that. These are the things that we would hear in that 8 o'clock room. I'm telling you, it was.
Wow.
Whew,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. I'm speechless. What?
Yes. The things that we heard, you wouldn't believe. When I was like, this was 20, what was it? Who were you, 2025? 2023. I said, I got to delete an app to get my mind together. That was the first app I let go.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Whew. Mm.
Not the cat condo.
Do you have any upcoming projects or books that your readers should be excited about?
I am going to release a black romance. I was only going to let it be exclusive to TikTok, but we don't even know we're going to be here now.
Right.
I don't think I'm going to put this one on Amazon. I think I'm going to keep that one for me on my website.
Mm-hmm.
And that will probably be my last romance for a while.
Mm-hmm.
As far as that, The Vampires 2, they can look forward to that. The second women's fiction, where I may have to reveal the pen name from Kendall Vella, they can look forward to. I almost slipped and told the title. Thank God I caught my tongue on that one because then they would have knew who it was. And I can't mention the pen names. If you do know one of my pen names, I thought this was going to be a black romance, but I think this is just straight up erotica. That's coming out. Shannon, no.
I'm gonna have to go talk to Shannon. Find out who.
Shannon was real tight lipped on that, so I can trust her. She knows about that name. Yeah.
I'm gonna see what she say. Because now I'm gonna have to dig up and read this shit because you said erotica, and that's like my number two favorite genre.
Oh, I need to send you something then.
That's paranormal, sci-fi, speculative fiction, and fantasy. Number one, erotica. Number two,
Okay.
number three is urban fiction, street lit. Number four is rom com, and number five is contemporary romance. So
Title wise, I can share will be the Vampires 2. That black romance is called Still Not Over You. You and that vampires, my goodness. And the third project that might come up under me, it will be a novella because I told you I'm in my short phase. I don't know if I want that one to be nonfiction or fiction yet. So we working that out.
I haven't read Juke yet. I haven't.
Yeah, it's what Shannon said. Olivia read Juke.
Wait, what's Juke?
That's the erotica that I have. That's under my name. That's the erotica.
Oh, let me go read that. Um, if you could collaborate with any authors in or outside your own genre, who would they be and why?
Did I think the other day? I think I saw somebody was coming up with a collab the other day, and that made me wonder who. I did do an anthology already, which I kind of feel like was a cross project because we listened to each other's stuff to make sure the story blended together. It's 5 authors surrounding that one weekend, so everybody had to share their POV. I would like to do something like that again, but like to have two names on a book.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't say her name right, if I do the horror, it will be Tannery Do. Am I saying
I
it right?
know, I know who you're talking about. Don't ask me because I'm gonna fuck it up too.
Okay. So
But
yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
if I get brave and do horror, I would like to do something with her.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And this is why she intimidates me. She reminds me of I'm taking one name out, Kamani, because you told me to not be intimidated by her. But that little girl Yara Shahidi, when
Mm.
she talks, I feel like, ooh, oh, I just let her do the talking. I just nod. So the Tanner Reeve lady, when I've seen her in interviews, I
Mm-hmm.
get a little intimidated. So I think that's something I could get something from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like help me. It would do something to like learn from her and listen to her.
Why did you sign up for the Black Writers Weekend?
To be a talk off camera about that.
Oh, okay.
And
Uh,
I didn't do Black Romance Fest either, so I'm not going there me either. Mm-mm. I was coming to Orlando, but y'all had to cut that one off. My daughter was upset about that.
I know. I'm sorry. It was out
Yeah,
of our
yeah.
control. We ain't had nothing to do with that.
I figured. And I was looking at Raleigh, but I'm still looking at the dates because that's coming up real fast.
Yeah, May 17th.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still Arlington and Chicago, and there's Las Vegas.
Arlington was gonna be an option. I have family there. That's all I'll say.
Oh, oh. So, what do you want readers to take away from your books? What do you want them to take away from the stories, no matter which genre you write in? What do you want them to take away from TK Richards, your secretive pen names, and the like?
Definitely from my romance that Black women deserve to be loved on. That's why I don't do the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't not all of us Black women are in horrible relationship. You don't not all of us black women are in horrible relationships, and that some of us are loved on, and
Yes.
that a black woman can have that in a book as well.
Yes.
Um, and that she can run the show and not be seen as what do they call it, emasculating her man. Women's fiction, I want them to know that your story is worth something and it should be told. And the thriller, keep a knife by the bed.
Right, right,
Yes, that's what I want them to take from the thriller. Keep a knife by the bed.
right. Okay.
And
So
travel with one in your pocketbook as well.
oh, always. And my son that I
Yes.
have.
I will say inspiration for that, if we're getting ready to end, comes from my mother. Um, I like I told you, I was bullied. And
Mm,
in high school, this girl picked at me and picked at me and picked at me. And one day, me and my mom went to the mall, and my mom is smaller than me, and I was already a buck 05, so you can imagine. And her friend saw us and intentionally came from this side of the mall to where we were on this side just to come bump me. And I
mm,
told you I'm not confrontational because my family's like that. And I didn't know my mom would roll like this. She had me fooled. 2.5 seconds later, after I got pushed, the blade was out. You take this one. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, what? I expect this from my sister. I didn't expect that from my mama. And that let me know, keep the blade in your pocketbook.
mm.
So, yes, that's where that comes
I,
from.
I was bullied one time, and my father had my brothers, and I before anybody said this is child abuse, this was back in the 80s, so leave me alone. He had my brothers teach me how to chest check and take a hit.
Okay.
And so I was flat chested anyway back then. But they was, getting hit by your brothers, and you have to hit them, and you got to be able to take a punch. So when that bully finally came to me the next go around, this was the first time I ever broke somebody's nose. Learning to hit my brothers so hard
That's
helped me to learn how to hit so hard. And
mhm.
that was the first time I ever broke somebody's nose and busted somebody's mouth up. That was the first time. With my eyes closed, 'cause I was like, I don't want to fight.
So you had that first draw. Did you get addicted?
Yeah, that's why I'm a black belt.
Yes. My sisters, I told you she's the fighter. She'll fight you in a minute. I'm like, all I got to let me go get my sister. I ain't really got to do nothing because this what she love to do anyway.
Yeah, it was,
But
yes,
yeah.
Dari. It was my first time ever fighting. My first
Mm.
time fighting. Somebody was way bigger. Because when I was small, I was like 99 pounds. I was skinny, tiny. And this girl was massive. For a fucking fourth grader, she looked like my oldest sibling. Like, god damn. She so, it was
Wow.
first time, and I beat her ass, and ever since then, I've been on go.
That's why you like women's fiction. That's exactly why. That's
Yeah.
exactly why.
Because
So
I,
yeah,
I, I feel like women should be empowered, and
yeah,
you telling stories in women fiction is very empowering. Sometimes it's hard for us to hear the truth about situations because we rather live in the lie than the truth. Some of us,
yeah.
because the truth makes us uncomfortable, and I think women's fiction is a way of delivering it, even though it's through fiction, and then but it's truthful. You know what I'm saying? You said the first time I broke
There's
someone's
been
nose.
more.
That's girl. I can't say all that stuff online.
Yeah, you had to be here for the past couple of years.
I can't say too much online, but yeah. But I think women's fiction. Yes, men do need to.
Yes, they need to read it to understand. if they have the capability of understanding, because some of them just don't want to understand. They don't
They
care. They
don't.
don't want to get it. Mm-mm.
They stuck in their ways. They don't want to evolve, and they think we are their property, not
Yeah,
their partners, not equal to. We're property.
right.
They still have that slave master mentality.
I almost gave something away. I'll say that one. I'll say something about what you just said. Yeah. Hmm. That, that
So,
that property word. Whew.
I mean, it's different in BDSM. It's different. That's a whole different thing. And it's
Yeah.
different in a bike club as well. That's a whole different thing as well. But
Yeah,
the
I done heard
way,
about the bike clubs.
well, what you hear about the bike club?
Yeah, is this a family live?
I hope not.
I don't know if it's true because people will lie, but I do know someone who said that every man had to get some for the woman to be accepted in the club. And I don't know if she's telling the truth or not, or if this is just a person who wanted attention. But I've heard about them bike clubs.
You see this on my neck?
Uh huh.
That's my bike club. I'm the president of a bike club. And I can guarantee you any woman that is getting slept in because they're a groupie to the club or trying to get into the club or whatever is because she is trying to get into the club on her own. And the
Hmm.
choice is given and she takes it.
Okay. Well, she took
Um
it.
yeah, the choice is given. Not all bike clubs are like that. You
Okay.
know, you have clubs that are on that type of bullshit and on that type of time because the women allow them to.
Mm.
They see a bike club and just be like, "Oh, I want that. I want to be with that." But they don't understand, bike club life is different from shit, hell, gang life is different from any other lifestyle.
Does that play into what we talked about earlier with knowing your self worth?
Yeah, it is. Cause I mean, I go up against niggas all the time. I mean, I go up against men all the time that don't like the fact it's all women in my club. You know what I'm saying? And they feel like you need to join somebody else's club and have a man in charge. But do I
Yeah,
care? Absolutely not. You know what I'm
I would.
saying?
I
But
think that's cool. You got an all woman club though.
yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard of that. So that's the first.
it's a lot.
That's a plus.
It's a lot of all women clubs. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay.
It's just that I'm low key with my shit. Because one thing about bike clubs, regardless, I don't care if you're a police officer in a bike club or you're not a police officer in a bike club. We are black, we riding bikes, and they see us with these tats and all type of shit, and they assume a lot of shit. And people in neighborhoods assume a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? They see us, and it don't help that we got demons on the back of our jackets. Because
I
our
know
name
that.
is Demon Time.
And see, I didn't
So,
know you were into bikes. So Olivia was telling you about Juke. You'll like the beginning.
mm.
It takes place at Myrtle Beach Bike Week.
Okay. Okay. I don't go to none of the white shit. I
That
do
has
all
everything to
black.
do with bikes and erotica.
I like that.
Hmm.
I'm
I
happy.
personally won't get back on another one ever again.
Why?
There was a person I dated, and I was one of them not up there thinking right persons because down here we don't have to wear helmets,
Mm,
and had me doing the butterfly in the back when they let the back tire go up, and because I just thought, like I said, was not using the thing that was sitting up in here. I didn't turn this on at the time, so yeah, now I know better.
damn. Damn. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm good though. I have lived. I have
I'm so
lived.
sorry.
Yeah, we don't have to wear helmets down here.
I wear a helmet regardless of
Yeah,
anything. And plus, I don't like a lot of people seeing my face anyway when I'm on the bike.
I
So
don't blame you. I do not blame
I don't need y'all seeing nothing. You live to tell the story. Amen.
you. Yeah.
Amen. All right. So where can we find your books? Tell us your website and tell us all your social medias, even TikTok, because we don't know. But
Right.
you never know.
Website is my name, tkrichards.com. Books are everywhere books are sold. I only have one book in KU, and that's the one that's in an anthology. It's a slow burn to let people get a taste of who I am. It's got a little bit of comedy. I have a FMC who's strong in that book, but a lot of people didn't like her because she was strong, which is why I like her. And that dynamic in that book is power struggle. But if you want to taste and you're in KU, that's the book you can start off with. But everything else is tkrichards.com. Everything that I have is in my TikTok shop. And if we go away, I'm going to miss y'all. I have a backup page, TK Richards Books, because that's when everybody had the backup page because stuff was going on Booktalk. So if you don't see me on TK Richards right here, you can also catch me on TK Richards Books. And I'm more active here, but I'm starting to become a little bit more active on YouTube. I started a review channel of stories and television that I shows that I like
Mhm.
because women's fiction. I don't get a lot of people who wants to read subtitles. I will read subtitles of things in other countries because I get bored with what's here. The same stories are being made over and over. They're not giving us the opportunity to share our stories, and we got to watch the same Disney movie made over a retelling of this. We got to watch the same series be made into the same series 20 years later when you could have put one of ours on and given people something interesting to watch. So I've ventured outside. I look at a lot of Nollywood. I look at a lot of Italian drama. I look at K dramas where I have to read the subtitles,
K
and I'm
dramas.
enjoying it over there because it's something different.
K dramas are so good, and so is
Yeah,
Turkish dramas.
yeah. So I also have that on my beacons.ai.com/TK Richards. You'll
Mm.
find it. It's called Unlike Me. That's my channel, and I'm just reviewing shows that I like. Hopefully, it'll bring me to people who like those as well. Like Pachinko, that was an excellent show on Apple TV. But all my friends are like, "Girl, I'm not reading them subtitles."
I love reading subtitles. Uh-oh, she froze again. Uh-oh, you
I
froze
thought I
almost
froze.
good.
Was it me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you was froze for me, and I'm like, let me move to see if I'm moving. Okay. And last one out, there's an Italian drama based off a book called My Brilliant Friend. Read the subtitles. When I say that opened up my eyes that we are not the only people who should be categorized a certain way,
Mm.
they Italian projects. Mm,
Italian
that's
project.
women's fiction. Oh my goodness. When I tell you my brilliant friend is why I started that channel because I had to venture out to people on Twitter to talk about it with. And
Mm.
it's amazing. You would the it's about two women, but I kept comparing it to what we go through as minority. Well, we're majorities. I forgot we're not supposed to say that anymore because we are the majority.
Mm.
But as black women,
Mm-hmm.
to see what those two Italian women went through, if black women could get something like that greenlit, it would be so amazing.
Mm.
That's how good that book was stretched into the television show. So that's why I created Unlike Me. I talk about all of the stories that I people just don't share with me. So I'm hoping to find those people to say, hey, somebody else watched this nerdy show, somebody else watched this leftover show. So that's why I'm over there. Some of the popular stuff like Wheel of Time and stuff I'm covering too, but no, mainly just stuff that people don't really want to watch.
Okay. Okay.
That's where my interests lie.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
we gonna get on out of here. But first, I'm gonna do some housekeeping. Y'all know the drill. Here come the infomercial. Let's get down to it. The Boozy Book Tour is full steam ahead. We have Raleigh coming up May 17th. It is a great lineup, and you're gonna have fun with drinks, food, and you never know what my questions will be while you eating dinner. You never know. Du- Just
No.
just know that whatever's on top of my head that day, whatever I'm feeling, I'm going to ask. Yep.
Because you sure wouldn't give me questions for the night.
I was, but I said no. But you got me in Charlotte.
Sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
but um also we have Arlington coming up. Great lineup once again. Tickets are available. Author tables are available. Very small amount of author tables are available. We have, and that's coming up in July, I think. June, July. Go on the website, boozybooktour.square.site. And we have Chicago coming up. Chicago is in October 18th. And that one will be Friday, the meet and greet, which will be a steppers class. So you'll learn how to step like the Chicagoans do. And then we're going to have the book signing, and we're going to have a brunch on Sunday at a nice Chicago restaurant that serve alcohol and food. And then we're going to send you on your way drunk as hell. And we have Las Vegas, which is partnered with Bray, and that's A.A. Lewis. And Las Vegas is the second Melanin Ball, and it is a 3-day event in Las Vegas. Tickets are available, and vendors and author tables are available. One of our highlighted guests is Jaquel J. She will be there, and there's many more to come. So if you haven't got your place in Vegas for the second Melanin Ball, you are missing out, because a Melanin Ball is a good ass fucking time. I promise you it is. In Denver.
Saw the first one.
Huh?
Saw the first one.
Oh, and also with the Melanin Ball, we have an award show. In that award show, we will be putting out nominations next month. If you want to nominate your author, nominate them, vote for them, continue to vote for them so they can get down to the top 3. If you do not see your author, do not slide in mine or Shannon's DMs for shit. It's your fault. It's out of our hands once we put it out there. It's your fault. Then we have Denver. Denver is next year, and it will be in Denver, Colorado, where we'll be having a interracial, multicultural erotica dungeon night. So y'all will get to experience a BDSM dungeon full force, and it's a pop-up shop to my club that I'll be opening in 2027, the Shadow Realm, which is a BDSM club for Black people. So if you are an author of multicultural, interracial, and erotica, this will be the event for you. This will be the event for you. So get your tables, and you will have to sign an NDA, because some of y'all talk too goddamn much. This is BDSM, y'all. This y'all talk too much. So you're gonna have to sign the NDA. And last next year will be the Alice in Wonderland Mad Hatter Tea Party in Seattle, Washington. And that'll be in October of next year. And we will be having regular tea, and we will be having Long Island iced tea. But of course, you're going to get fucked up. It's called the Boozy Book Tour, not the unalcoholic tour. So it's going to be a good time. And in those events, you will dress up, because the Pajama Jam is a house party, ode to House Party 2, Kid and Play, Pajama Jam for Las Vegas. So whole weekend you wearing pajamas. Switch up your pajamas. Don't be nasty. Just saying. Don't come in there with no pasties either. Yeah, somebody asked me that. Wear clothes.
They come in with patience anyway.
And for the BDSM, we expect you to dress how you would think we would ask you to dress in a dungeon. So do your research. And for the Alice in Wonderland, dress like Alice in Wonderland. Chester Cat, the Mad Hatter, Queen of Hearts, all of that. So, and so also, if you haven't got my planner, I have a digital copy in my link. This is the Black Girls Social Media